The shop opened to the public on the 1st of July 1968, staffed by a team of volunteers. The original shop operated in a small rented property at 43C Kensington Rd, Norwood, South Australia. Soon that became too small and the shop moved to 47B just down the road. Finally, on the 5th of March 1972, 51 Kensington Road was bought for $20,000. The staff and managers have always been volunteers. The managers of the shop from its beginnings have been Ngaire Thorp, Betty Martin, Jan Larsson, Robin Sinclair, Christine James, Topsy Evans and Kerry O'Regan.
Probably in about 1967, in the North Adelaide Quaker meeting, there was a lot of interest in raising money for what was then called Quaker Service Council or Committee. I'm not sure which one it was. QSC we talked about, and in Vietnam they needed money. So the meeting decided to raise money and there was a lot of excitement. Quakers do get excited about things and the whole meeting was excited. And they decided to have trading tables in Norwood, and because I was relatively young I had the job of fetching and carrying and that sort of thing. The trading tables went so well that there was too many goods. The Quaker ladies stopped making cakes and they just collected second-hand clothes, and eventually there were so many that Ngaire Thorp had the brilliant idea, let's start a shop, and the meeting was buzzing with it.
I remember I didn't bring my family to South Australia to Adelaide meeting until 1970, but the meeting was still buzzing, largely because of the Vietnam War and the moratorium campaign. Yes, there was a great deal of excitement at the meeting, and of course, as you'd expect, anything to do with peace, friends were very much involved in.
1968 is what I think was when it was first established. And to do that, there were all sorts of things that the meeting had to do, like get a second-hand dealer's licence.
Oh, yeah.
And back then, the second-hand dealer's licence was different to the way it is today, and you could sell almost anything second-hand except real estate. And we had some quite interesting things coming into the shop from time to time, and I think perhaps the most interesting one was it's very interesting to me because I was personally involved, was the sale of a car, and my then husband and I bought it and we were very happy to buy it. So we bought a car from the Quaker Shop.
Well, that's probably the only time that's happened. But of course the Quaker Shop will, in its day, has sold almost anything, but the main item we sell is second-hand clothing, of course, and we do sell some marvellous bargains in that. You can buy a pair of shoes, Italian shoes, that would cost a couple of $100, and if you're lucky and they happen to fit you, you can probably buy them for about $6 here.
Yes.
Could I ask when the Wattle Park bin opened?
It's come and gone quite a bit. There was a time when there were 4 or 5 other charity shops, bins there, and not surprisingly the owner of the area decided that was too much and wanted to ban the lot. We wrote to him a very pathetic letter. I remember writing this letter pleading that it was our only bin, whereas other people like Salvos and Vinnie's and Goodwill have got lots of bins all over the place. This was our only bin. We were the first there. Please let us stay. And they did let us stay, but it's been marvellous because the people in Wattle Park and thereabout know where it is, and our supporters. Of course, they can always bring stuff direct to the shop, and we're very glad if they do.
So what do you do when someone brings something into you? What do you do with it?
Well, we go through a sorting process. We're in the fortunate position of receiving many, many donations, some of which we can't retain. We receive the complete range of books, picking out the fiction, and then they go into their various genres, and then picking out the non-fiction books from, you know, travel, history, arts and so on. So we go through a sorting process.
Sorting, there are 4 or 5 categories. The top category, of course, is, oh, that's good, I'll buy it myself. And we're always very careful to make sure that somebody monitored our pricing for that. By and large, if you want it yourself, you generally put a price a little bit more than you'd expect the public to pay for it, because we're famous for our extremely low prices.
Yes, when we receive ones that look a bit interesting, look as though collectors might be interested in them, we then check them on the web to see what sorts of prices the second-hand bookshops are asking. And yes, occasionally there are ones that are, worth quite a bit more.
Sometimes it comes straight from the dry cleaners and is beautifully clean and pressed, and you think, Hosanna.
Well, sometimes it's straight from the shop with the price tag still on it.
Oh, yes.
Paper price tag.
They've never worn it.
They've never worn it, never used it. There are sheets sometimes in their original packaging, and you can tell they haven't been taken out.
Yeah. The third category is for other op shops, which big firms like Salvos and Vinnie's probably can sell more stuff than we can, but we're very careful not to give them rubbish, because we get plenty of rubbish after all, and that's the fourth category.
You get vast numbers of encyclopedias,
Yes,
Reader's Digest condensed books and things.
Well, sadly, they're just not wanted by anybody.
No.
They're recycled, so they're not going to landfill.
No, they're pulped.
Yes.
Yes. And the other difficult things are things like out-of-date textbooks.
Yes, Oxfam is happy to receive those.
Really? What do they do with them?
Well, whether they sell them in their bookshop here or pass them on elsewhere, I'm not sure. But yes, they still want those.
I say we don't usually sell very much in the way of underpants, but after Father's Day you always get a lot of comic underpants, with people from the Addams Family or
Disney cartoon characters.
Disney cartoon, and they've never been worn. Like all op shops, we get more stuff than we can handle.
A small harp walked through the front door one day, and the lady who was holding it said to Topsy, "Can you sell this?" And Topsy looked at it and said, "Yes, I can." And she brought it home to me. And I went along and had some harp lessons, and that led to me buying a bigger harp. And for some time I learnt the harp and can play 1 or 2 tunes, for which I'm very, very pleased. But that is my harp story.
One of the North Adelaide Quakers was given a flute in a leather-covered box. It was a wooden flute, and it had a little crack in it and a single key. And the people who gave it to him said, "You can have this for the Quaker shop. You might get $20 or maybe $25 for it." The flute was given to me to find out the price of it, because the Quaker shop had no idea what to charge for it. I had no idea either, but I put it on a cupboard by my front door, and I had some adult pupils coming in who play recorder, and they had also played flute, and both of them were very drawn to this, and one of them offered me $100 on the spot for it. And I thought, oh, that's very interesting. So the next day or soon after, I took it to a friend of mine who dabbles in buying and selling flutes, concert flutes, on eBay, but also is quite knowledgeable about other instruments, to ask him if he could find a price for it for me. And he got back to me a couple of days later and he said, "I think it's probably worth about $1,000. Well, when I picked myself up off the floor, I then got in touch with some people from the Quaker shop to find out what they wanted to do about it. And it was decided that my friend could have a go at selling it on eBay. He did sell it, and he gave all the proceeds to the Quaker shop, and it was well over $1,000 worth for that single flute, a Rudel and Cart flute.
I'm Randall Shelton, Shelton Building Company, and this is Paul Brown. We work together. We got involved with this project maybe two years ago, when there was a lot of discussions. The Society Friends had a lot of meetings to pull together designs, a lot of input from different people, and so we started at the end of last year in the middle of a heatwave when they shut the shop in the middle of December. But of course, the first day we started, everything became a bit a few surprises, and we ended up having to lift up the whole driveway, and underneath that driveway was another driveway, and underneath that driveway was another driveway. So we dug right out to the front and replaced the stormwater. They were the best clients I can work with because they basically kept asking me, what do I think's best? So we managed to pull it together over Christmas. It's ready for the opening then in January.
Yeah, it's been a little bit slow because of the heat. We just basically had to go home when we got too hot.
They keep thinking of little extra things for us to do. But so that's okay, that's what we do. We can do miracles. The impossible takes a little bit longer, but we can do miracles. That's our job.
This is the day the shop has been reopened after being refurbished and some extensive renovations that have occurred. So it's a very exciting day.
Yes, absolutely. And Charmaine is the co-manager. She's been instrumental in a lot of the changes as well. It's great to have support from Charmaine and actually all the staff. They've all been very good, haven't they?
Yes.
And we're not really completely organised yet. It's been possible to do these renovations because over the last 10 years the shop has put aside an amount into what they call a contingency fund. And we're very lucky because Randall Shelton has been with us through this for the last decade and looked after various bits that need looking after, and he's been simply marvellous. We've worked over the last 3 days for a long time, and at times we had virtually an army here. And quite a lot of the volunteers just dropped in case we needed them, and it was marvellous. We got a lot done. We felt we had to open today. We were already a fortnight late, and we felt that we had to open straight away. We had 8 customers outside clamouring to be let in first thing in the morning. They all are very excited about the changes. So the worst is done.
Yes, you're right, Topsy. The worst is over, and it's just reshaping, emptying all the boxes that have come out of storage just the last few days, and finding things on the shelves.
Finding things that we've lost. And
yes, and all the wonderful donors that have supported us along the way. The donations have kept coming through, and so we've got a bit of work to get through so that we can get it all on the shop floor and create this revenue Quaker so dearly love to see.
Yes.
And rightly so. It's all a good cause. 12 months ago we started on all of this, and I think another 3 months we'll have it all polished up. So.
Yes, I don't think I can wait for 3 months.
A lot more space for both the shoppers and for the volunteers working. The shop area is opened up a lot more. We have a special section here now for children where they can play in safety with their mothers watching them while they are shopping, which is a good thing, and a mat so it's easier on their knees. We have a better kitchen space for our volunteers, and also the back room for sorting and the storage of bric-a-brac and other items has come together in one large area now, so it's all done in one large area instead of being separated and compartmentised into different rooms. The books now are located into one area, so that's very good for our wonderful Bron.
Bron, you've been in charge of the books in the shop for a long time. How long?
About 12 or 13 years, Topsy.
Well, that's quite a long time to be dealing with the influx of anything that comes in, isn't it? But books are a major part of our sales, aren't they? So you've now got an extra lot of shelves in the shop.
Yes, that's wonderful because we've been increasingly receiving more and more books, and we just have not been able to, fit them in the shop. So it's absolutely marvellous.
Good.
Really marvellous to have the extra space.
It's challenging, it's chaos, and it's wonderful. I love to make the order out of the chaos, so that's very rewarding for me. I think one of the things that we recognised was that our volunteers are our best resource, and we needed to look after them, and that's one reason why we did the shop, because without them we don't have a shop. So that was very important to us, and I think that will bring hopefully new volunteers in and keep the ones that we have and look after the ones that are getting elderly.
It's about a good environment to be volunteering in as well.
Yes, until about 2 months ago, we had 2 ladies who were 95 on the staff. Many of them have been here for a long time, up to 30 years on the staff. So we have to look after them.
They need not to bend quite so much and reach up quite so high, and just make the whole area a lot safer and less stressful to work in and easier all round for both customers and volunteers.
I buy ornaments, I bought curtains, I bought bed linen, I bought clothes, I bought everything. It's just if I see something and it takes my eye and it can fit in my place, I buy it. I'm Sheila and I've been coming to this shop now for 15 years. I live in the area. I just so look forward to coming to get my little bargains. And while it's been closed, I have missed it so much. I really have. So today I couldn't wait to get here. And as soon as I walked in, I bought some black swans. Beautiful. And my neighbours come as well because I tell them to come. And some of them are old and they can't get here, so they let me buy things. Because some of my neighbours are old and they can't get here, you see. So I do a little bit of shopping for them. And it's really good. I love it. I've always enjoyed it, but this is marvellous. Really, it's a credit to everyone. And I hope it goes well, which it will do. And the prices are so good. I haven't bought brand new shoes in the shop now for about 15 years. I get them all from here because they're all in good nick.
Well, this is the 48th anniversary of the opening of the shop, and not always in this area, but it's the shop itself has been going for 48 years, and actually 1 month because we're a month late having our anniversary party. It's very exciting. Everybody's come. In fact, we had so many people getting ready that we all sat down and started early. And it's really great to have this number of volunteers here. There are quite a lot who can't come, but we all try to get to this once a year gathering. It's the only time we all get together.
Well, I've been a Quaker for very many years, and I knew that the Quaker shop existed, but it wasn't until I retired, about 8 years ago now, that I actually had time to do something like be involved in the Quaker shop. And I thought at first, yes, that would be a good and worthy thing to do.
I was involved with the Quaker shop in around about 2008, 2009. I was here for about 2 or 3 years, and some of my work was involved with pricing clothes, and other parts was pricing the bric-a-brac.
I'm Julia. I've been here for about 18 months or so, and this follows an incredibly long time, probably 10 years or so as a shopper in the shop, and finding it a fabulous place to be and having interaction with the rest of the staff. I decided once I was retired to come here and volunteer. It seemed like a really good thing to do, and I'm enjoying it immensely.
I heard about this shop, maybe 15 or 20 years ago. A good friend of mine had a good friend of hers was working in the shop and had worked here for a long time. So she used to tell me about this shop for years and what a great place it was. Well, I never came in the shop. I was living in Currapedy at that time, but 5 years ago I moved to Norwood from Currapedy, and I thought, now I'm living near that Quaker shop that I've heard about for so long, and I'm retired, And I thought, I would love to volunteer there. I would like to work there. I would like to support Quaker Service Australia and the good that they do. And I would just like to have involvement with that shop. So I came along and inquired about being a volunteer. And I was told the manager wasn't there, she was having an operation. So the fellow said, oh, I'd have to come back in a week or so. So I had a squiz around the shop and I bought this jacket for $4. I'm still wearing it. Love it. And I've been working in the shop ever since. And I enjoy it very much.
I've been here for a few years now. I come a fair way from down south to get here. I used to drive past a lot to go to spiritual meetings, and I saw this little shop. And I'd see it and I'd go, oh, little shop, it's fascinating. Some people think I come a long way from Morphettville to come here, but there was something about it. There was something different about it because it's run by the Quakers, and I'm into spiritual things myself. And I just loved it.
It's a good job. You know that you're doing a good job. And my mother was already a friend of the Quakers many years ago, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. I hope that I can keep it up a little longer, even though I'm nearly 100.
I needed to report on what the Quaker Shop does to a group in Sydney. So I came here one afternoon and just to see what went on. And it was really lovely to speak to the volunteers and all they do. And it's obviously a meeting place for the volunteers and a support for each of them. And they were saying how much they look forward to coming each week and how much they find the friendship uplifting and helpful to them personally. So it was really lovely to give that aspect to this committee in Sydney, as well as what the Quaker Shop does as far as recycling and all of that. So it was great.
I've got a granddaughter who's 21, and the one where the pom-poms come from, and she thinks it's the main event in my life. Really bond and get on very well. And mind you, we don't see each other other than a Thursday afternoon, but on Thursdays when people come in, the people I've met here and the people I get talking to is amazing.
And the kind of people that you meet here at Quaker Shop is amazing. The variety of people is just wonderful. How they are contributing to the Quaker Shop is also wonderful.
You can get inside, but normally we send little children in to get what's left in the bin.
Yeah, well, you're just a slave driver.
Me? I appreciate what you do, Roger. I really do.
What I didn't realise was how much fun it would be. I'm here on Tuesday mornings, and our Tuesday morning job, as well as serving customers, is to price the bric-a-brac, all the funny little odds and ends that get donated. Put the price tags on them and put them out on the shelves. And it's like having a lucky dip each week. We find all this amazing stuff in the bric-a-brac boxes, and sometimes we think, what is this? Sometimes we can't even tell what the object is. And sometimes we look at something and think, oh, this, maybe we should just throw it out. We think, oh, well, what the heck, we'll put a price on, put it out in the shop, half an hour later it's gone.
Just want to talk about something that's a bit funny as a sorter. Sometimes objects, I think, have their own life because on occasions it turns out that they belong to a volunteer and this item might have been caught up in the things that get in the shop, and people say, oh look, that's my something, and it's been caught up. Or a person who's donated something will come and say, I really want my such and such back, and we say, well, sorry, too late, it would have been sold weeks ago. And then somebody might say, I wonder if my mobile phone was in a bag of things that I donated, and we go, really? What are we going to do about that? Until somebody rings their number and then their phone is in that bag of things that's donated. So it's very funny being in a place where we think objects actually have a life of their own.
It's great to celebrate the fact that that the shop's been here all this time, and this extension is just fabulous. You know, before it was pretty cramped, but now we can breathe, and the customers are really impressed with it too. There's a bit more room for them to move around among the goods as well.
I'm an architect, and my wife has been a long time a volunteer at the Quakers. I was aware a few years ago they did a renovation in the shop and they wanted to do a further renovation, so I helped them to sort of evaluate whether it was possible to do a bigger, newer building on the back, or to just retain and salvage the existing work that was here. And that sort of suited my style anyway. I like to retain things and restore things and recycle things, and it suits the Quaker way too, I think, of not throwing things out, getting the maximum use.
About the renovations, I was a little bit sad because I was a little bit concerned that it was going to change the ambience of the shop. And anyway, when we came back after Christmas, and I just thought it was pretty fantastic.
So we had the shed at the back, we had this sort of veranda, it was an open lean-to area at the back, and so it's just a matter of joining it all together, and lots of little things needed to be done. This wall here, these walls are a bit buggered and they had to be replaced and fire rated and one thing and another. But the key to a successful project is having a good client. And Topsy was pretty focused what she knew what she wanted, and had the group fairly well marshalled behind her, right? There wasn't a lot of conflict.
But I think it's amazing. It's like over there where the books are, they've got two chairs now, and people come and sit sometimes, and I feel like maybe I'm a librarian, like it's a real little library, you know. I say, it's a real op shop. Ours is a real op shop. Like, it's over 45 years old, and the treasures that you find here, it's amazing. It's amazing, and quite often what pops up just at the time when you need it.
The Quaker Shop doesn't have anybody who are paid. To me, my knowledge is still 100% volunteer, and that's been happening for the last 40 years. So it's a AAA rated opportunity shop, and it's truly wonderful. And what it does for the community is not only just to process through the recycling, it's providing a community for the people who are working here at the volunteers.
Now, those who haven't noticed yet, if you look up there, there is an aircon. Yay! It came on Thursday. We only started planning for this in mid-December. I mean, you know, things move really quickly sometimes. So we've now got the aircon, and also round the shop, around those bits, you'll find the works of our poet laureate, Robin Sinclair. They start back here with the very early ones, when the donations weren't quite as frequent as they are now, and they gradually go through the secret life of the coat hanger, which I think everyone has to know. Then what's the
Quaker Shop dilemma?
The Quaker Shop dilemma, yes, that was when we realised that the building might fall down. We had to do something. And then there's the sequel along there, which is just written in the last few months.
Very well.
So I think we've got a lot to celebrate. And I'm delighted you're all here. And I've got 2 words of request, advice, and even admonition. First of all, we have to eat. I think this that's obvious. No one has to cook tonight, just eat here. And the other thing is that you have to sing, because David is going to put up the words of the Quaker Shop anthem on the white wall, and I want you all to sing.
Oh, people, let us rejoice and celebrate our shop with loads of clothes.
On the 1st of October 2018, we celebrated our 50th birthday with a party out the back. Some long-time volunteers joined us, as well as invited guests, including those from the charities we support.
My name is Kerry O'Regan and I'm the current manager of the Quaker Shop. Before we begin, marquee have been constructed on Gunner land, and to acknowledge that fact and the connection of the Gunner people with this land over tens of thousands of years. My very happy duty this afternoon is to welcome you all. And we have a very diverse collection of people here. We have volunteers, past, present, and perhaps even future. So yes, consider it as a possibility if you're not doing it yet. We have some customers who are regulars, and we thought we would like to share the occasion with them as well. A major beneficiary of the proceeds from the shop is Quaker Service Australia. And if you don't know what Quaker Service Australia do, Quaker Service Australia supports development programs in a number of countries, including Australia. We also regularly support the Australian Refugee Association. We do have some special guests. We have Jo Jordan, who's there, who is here representing Australian Quakers. And we have Peter Gers, who did appear. I would just like to acknowledge Ngaire Thorp. She was the person the Quaker woman, who actually had the vision to get the Quaker Shop started. And she, and along with Anne Rees, who is there, and Beverly Hopkins, who is a volunteer who is not with us today, they were there at the very beginning, 50 years ago. Yeah, well, Humphrey, who wasn't there quite at the beginning, but Humphrey tells me, those people have, because of other life commitments, they've come and gone a little bit, but Humphrey has been serving as a volunteer continuously since 1976. You were here right at the very beginning too, Helen. Thank you. There's Helen Whitford. So I think that indicates that, when you work at the Quaker Shop, you live long lives. So Ngaire had the vision, had the energy, the drive to persuade other Quakers that it was a good thing to do and got it all started. But since then, she has been followed by a succession of strong, visionary Quaker women who have managed the shop, and I would like to acknowledge them as well. It's Betty Martin, who some of you may know or have known of, Jan Larsson, Robin Sinclair, who is here somewhere, hiding in the corner, Christine James, who is currently our treasurer, but she's, as she often is, travelling overseas. She, with Rona Watkins, Rona helped her manage. Topsy Evans, who is here. And now me. So it's a proud lineage, and one that I'm indeed privileged to be part of. One of the things we sought to do to acknowledge this occasion was to repaint the mural on the wall of the shop, which has been a bit of a landmark for a long time. And I would like to acknowledge Frey Micklethwaite, who is a fairly well-known artist and mural artist in particular, who's nearly completed it. There's some few finishing touches to be done, and I think there's a bit of a story that might be associated with the finishing off of it, but it's pretty much done, so that's something else you might like to go and have a look at. You may or may not have followed the requirement on the invitation that you wear something from the Quaker shop. So when you're having a conversation with someone you may not know anything else about, you can ask them that. And they will either show you or need to be a little shamefaced about it. But you can always catch up later with, do it retrospectively. So I would actually like to hand over to Jo Jordan now, the presiding clerk of Australian Quakers, who will say something officially.
Good afternoon, friends, and welcome to this 50th anniversary celebration of the Quaker Shop. My name is Jo Jordan, and I'm the presiding clerk of Quakers in Australia and a member of the South Australian Quaker meeting for the past 37 years. It's wonderful that so many of you are here today and looking so stylish. Wearing something from the Quaker Shop or some fashion accessory from the Quaker Shop. So we're here for us to remember people, reflections about the Quaker Shop and the many people who've been customers and volunteers and managers here. We're delighted that Robert Greer can be here, that Peter Gers can be here, that the pioneers of the Quaker Shop can be here. There are some who would have liked to have been with us, but they are unable to be here. We've received apologies and good wishes from Christine James, Wendy Hartley and Brian Arnott, who are all travelling overseas. Enid Ulbrich, Jo Wilmot, who is setting up her art exhibition, and Marilyn Byrne, a long-term volunteer, is currently unwell, and they couldn't be with us. This modest shop on Kensington Road has become an important part of South Australian history over the past 50 years. From the outside, the shop looks much the way it did many years ago, but there have been many extensive and positive changes. Warren Buffett once said, "Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago." 10 years ago, someone had the insight to plant a casuarina to commemorate the 40th anniversary of the shop, and it's just behind this marquee. And then on the 45th, another was planted, and already we have just a little shade in the car park. But it's above all, it's the people who've given something of themselves to this community, whom we celebrate today. We remember those who are no longer with us, and after 50 years, there are many dear friends whose memories we cherish, who are with us now in spirit. I hope memories and stories will be shared today and spark off many others. Quakers have a reputation as people who stand up for injustice, who give a voice to the voiceless. And during the 1960s, when the Vietnam War was raging and images of destruction and devastation confronted us daily, there were a number of different responses by Quakers. Moratorium marches were held in Adelaide to protest against Australia's participation in the war. Support was offered to 18-year-olds who'd been drafted and who chose to be conscientious objectors, and money was raised to help alleviate the suffering of Vietnamese civilians. Each response drew enthusiastic support from the general public. The Quaker Shop began with a few friends meeting at each other's homes, organising jumble sales to raise money for civilian victims of war. This grew into monthly sales of second-hand goods, which came from a collection bin at the railway station. And a small shop on Kensington Road was rented for this purpose. When the response from the general public was so good that $200 was raised each month, the committee knew they were onto a good thing, and they were. And in 1971, when this building behind us came up for sale, the Quaker meeting in Adelaide made the decision to purchase it. The organising committee worked hard to move all the goods from the rented premises close by. They put up shelving and organised the spaces, turning it into a modest, proper shop. And many years later, and countless hours of planning and organising renovations by the different shop managers and committees,
we have a shop which retains its heritage ambience, provides an updated, safe, working environment for volunteers while offering the same heartfelt welcome to customers. The Quaker Shop also gave birth to Quaker Service Australia, the international aid organisation now based in Sydney, which works with communities in Cambodia, Uganda and India, as well as within Australia. Quaker Service Australia continues to receive substantial support from the Quaker Shop, managing projects that are economically and environmentally appropriate and sustainable. Like the Quaker Shop, its administration costs are minimal, but the results are spectacular. If you mention the word Quaker to someone in Adelaide, they will usually say, "Oh yes, that little shop on Kensington Rd." This place is widely known and recognised even by those who haven't set foot inside. A former shop manager, Robin Sinclair, tells me that once a visitor came to the shop and said, "You're not really Quakers, are you?" And when Robin replied, "Yes, we were," she said, "But you can't be, they're all dead." So this shop offers an essential education purpose as well. Not only has the Quaker Shop raised hundreds of thousands of dollars for Quaker Service Australia and the Refugee Association of Australia, it acts as a community centre for local people and provides a supportive environment for more than 60 volunteer helpers. The Quaker Shop is proud to be the face of Quakers in South Australia and to be known as the op shop that serves with love. In the shop, there's a quotation from Rabindranath Tagore which conveys the philosophy of the Quaker Shop. "I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I woke and found that life was service. I acted and behold, service was joy." Congratulations, and thank you to everyone, past and present, who have worked and contributed to the Quaker Shop over the past 50 years. May you continue to serve, to receive, and to give much joy.
Everybody, thank you for having me here today, and thank you, as Joe said, we remember many people who are not here today who have served in this beautiful shop. Recently, I had a movie called Dawn from the Film Corporation about Dawn Fraser that I'd never watched, and I had it transferred from VHS to a DVD, and I watched it. And 2/3 the way through, Dawn Fraser had married this guy in the late 50s, early 60s, played by John Dietrich. And I'm looking at the movie and I'm thinking, he's wearing my shirt. And I had this shirt that was a sort of a shot green and brown kind of shirt, depending on which light, and it had a very unusual, sort of late 50s collar. Very unusual shirt. And I thought, that's my shirt! It's not often you watch a movie and you think, there's your shirt. And of course, I bought it from here. And it had come from the Film Corporation, which used to be the door where the Odeon Theatre was. So, they'd finished the film and it brought, this shunter to this shop, and I'd worn it for years. And there it was in the movie. People have asked me what I'm wearing from the Quaker Shop today, and I've said, everything. It's my underwear. We had a socks and jocks once for the homeless, because the homeless need socks and jocks. And I was buying second-hand boxer shorts from op shops and going to Kmart and buying new for the home. But this, we think is the oldest op shop in South Australia, the original and the best. Yes. Because of its spirit. Yes. And I want to thank you as a shopper and someone who's been coming here since it opened, that to thank all of the people, all the effort, and it's unimaginable the number. Imagine all the clothes, imagine the things that have been found in the pockets. Good, bad and ugly. All the things that have gone through the shop, all the people that have gone through the shop, all the good that has gone through this shop, and helped people all over the world, and that is a wonderful thing. And I thank and bless you all. And it's a particular honour to be here with Humphrey, because he was a beloved teacher of mine at Flinders University. Before you were a very poor Christian. But what I do believe is when Christ said, "What you do for the least of us, you also do for me." And that is a wonderful example. And I thank you all as a customer and as a friend of the friends. Thank you, one and all. Thank you. I'll see you here in 50 years.
Bum, 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 bum. Oh, people, oh, let us rejoice and celebrate our shop with loads of clothes from everywhere. Our fashions are the top. Our store abounds in quirky gifts and books and garments rare. For every age and every stage you'll find there's something there. So let us sing in joyful strains with all our loves to wear. With golden streaming in the dawn and volunteers galore. Donations pile up in the bank and buyers swarm the store. At lowest prices to be found, the bargains to astound. With satisfaction guaranteed, and customers abound. All profits go to those in need, so buy not for we bleed.
Thank you for that wonderful singing of not the national anthem. That's all of the formal proceedings. So eat, drink, be merry, have a look at the video, have a look at the mural, have a look at the painting when I've unwrapped it, and ask each other about what you're wearing from the QUAKER shop. Thank you. Oh yes, and we'll cut the cake, which you'll need to have a big piece of.
Thank you. We love you and you do an amazing job, and I know when I put around the collection for this present for you, Kerry, the comments, the positive comments that I got were amazing, so thank you.
So that's our first 50 years. We look forward to what the next 50 may bring.